In the heart of the city, where glass towers caught the sun and traffic hummed like a restless hive, Daniel Price sat in his corner office staring at the spreadsheet on his monitor. Numbers swam in and out of focus, their meaning dissolving the longer he looked at them. It was 2:17 in the afternoon, that invisible hour when his energy always seemed to plummet. He sipped his fourth cup of coffee, but the bitterness didn't bring clarity. His eyelids felt heavy, his brain sluggish. He wondered, not for the first time, if this was just how aging worked. He was 52 now, after all. Or if there was some other solution. The idea came from an unexpected place. His company had recently hired a new wellness consultant, a lively woman named Mara, with a laugh that carried down the hallway. She'd given a short seminar about workplace health earlier that week, touching on nutrition, posture, and stress. But what stuck with Daniel was the slide about micro rest, short, deliberate naps during the day. A power nap, Mara had said, isn't laziness. It's a reset button. 10 to 20 minutes and your brain is sharper, your mood better, your heart healthier. Done right, it might even add years to your life. Daniel had rolled his eyes at the time. Who had space in their day for lying down? But now, as he blinked at his blurred spreadsheet, he thought about it again. He closed the file, set an alarm on his phone for 15 minutes, and leaned back in his chair. He rested his head against the wall and let his eyes shut. At first, his mind resisted. He thought about deadlines, his teenage son's science project, the grocery list. But slowly, the background noise of his thoughts softened. His breathing steadied. The next thing he knew, his alarm was buzzing. He sat up, disoriented for a second, then realized something strange. He felt awake, not caffeinated and jittery, but truly alert. He reopened the spreadsheet, and the numbers that had been swimming an hour ago were suddenly clear, patterns emerging without effort. That night, curious, he searched online for more about power naps. He found articles citing research from around the world, how short naps could lower stress hormones, reduce heart strain, improve memory, even strengthen the immune system. One study claimed people who napped regularly had a lower risk of heart disease and lived longer on average. It made sense in a way. Rest wasn't just recovery, it was maintenance. Like tuning up an engine before it broke down. The next day, Daniel tried it again. 15 minutes in a quiet conference room after lunch. When he returned to his desk, he finished a report in half the time he'd expected. His colleagues noticed. "You're in a good mood for once after lunch," joked Claire from accounting. He grinned. "Secret weapon," he said, but didn't elaborate. Soon, the habit became part of his routine. He stopped relying on endless coffee refills and started timing his naps instead. He noticed more than just mental clarity. His temper, once quick to flare in the afternoon slump, was calmer. His concentration lasted longer. His evenings were less drained. He had energy left for cooking dinner or walking in the park with his wife, Julia. Julia noticed too. "You're not so wiped out when you get home," she said one evening as they chopped vegetables together. "What's changed?" "Power naps," he admitted. "Just 15 minutes at work?" She raised an eyebrow. "You've turned into my grandfather," she teased. "But I like it." Over the months, Daniel read more about the science. Short naps, he learned, could help consolidate memories and improve learning. They lowered blood pressure. They might even slow some signs of cellular aging by reducing oxidative stress in the body. The key was keeping them brief, long enough to refresh the brain, but not so long as to enter deep sleep, which could leave you groggy. It became a quiet mission for him, something he practiced and refined. He learned to nap sitting up, to keep a small pillow in his desk drawer for comfort, to close the blinds just enough to dim the light. The benefits built slowly but noticeably. He had fewer headaches. His focus in late meetings was sharper than his younger colleagues. His annual checkup showed improved blood pressure, and his doctor told him, "Whatever you're doing, keep it up." One afternoon, months into his experiment, a crisis hit at work. The system crashed an hour before a critical client presentation. People were scrambling, tensions flaring. Daniel could feel the familiar rush of adrenaline, but instead of snapping at the IT team or panicking over lost time, he found himself thinking clearly. He broke down the problem into steps, reassigned tasks, and coordinated calmly. They made the deadline with minutes to spare. Afterward, Claire from accounting stopped by his desk. "I don't know how you kept your head just now," she said. I thought for sure you'd lose it, he smiled. 15 minutes a day, he said. It's training. Outside of work, Daniel started applying the same principle at home. On weekends, instead of pushing through fatigue while working on the house or running errands, he'd pause for a short nap. It wasn't laziness, it was an investment. He started waking on Sunday mornings with the same clarity he used to feel only after a vacation. Julia joined him sometimes, and they'd both wake feeling lighter, laughing at how something so small could feel so luxurious. It made him think about the bigger question: longevity. He'd always pictured living long as a matter of genetics, diet, maybe exercise. But rest? That had seemed like an afterthought. Now he saw it differently. If stress could shorten a life and rest could lower stress, wasn't napping in the same category as eating well or taking a walk? Maybe it wasn't just about lengthening life in years, but in quality. More days where you were truly present, not muddled through on autopilot. He noticed, too, how his colleagues began to take interest. At first, they teased him. Then they started asking how he did it, how to avoid the post-lunch slump. Soon, Mara arranged for the company to set up a small, quiet room with 2 reclining chairs and soft lighting. It became the most popular spot in the office between 1 and 3 in the afternoon. One Friday, as he left the office, Daniel overheard 2 interns talking. "He swears by those naps," one said. "Seems to work for him," the other replied. "He's always on top of things, never looks fried like the rest of us." Daniel walked to his car smiling. The habit that had started as an experiment was now part of who he was: sharper, calmer, more resilient. A year after that first hesitant nap in his chair, Daniel sat at his kitchen table one Sunday morning, reading an article about a centenarian who credited her long life to never hurrying and always resting when the body asked. He thought about his own father, who had pushed himself through long days and late nights until heart trouble slowed him down for good. He thought about how different his own path might be, simply because he'd chosen to listen to his body's midday plea for rest. When Julia joined him with her coffee, she asked what he was smiling about. "Thinking about the future," he said, "and how I might just get to stick around a little longer if I keep doing what I'm doing." She reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "If it means more years like this," she said, "I'm all for it." Daniel looked at her, then out the window where sunlight spilled across the lawn. Somewhere in the quiet of the house, he felt the gentle pull of drowsiness, the day's rhythm inviting him to pause. He would take his 15 minutes soon, knowing it wasn't just a break, it was an act of care for the years ahead. And when he woke, the world would be a little sharper, a little brighter, ready for whatever came next.